Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we look at the stupidest advice I have ever been given, and this man is Chief Medical Advisor that's giving it. It's titled, Professor Chris Whitty's, that's not very apt for this guy, I'm telling you, trade-offs warning could mean pubs closing so schools can open.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration. I now have lost all confidence in either of the two main parties. I never had any confidence in the third.
Yep, you heard that right. This absolute cockwomble thinks pubs should close for what? Why? What does that have anything to do with schools? You tell me, because I can't think of a reason. Maybe it's because those nasty, dirty parents infecting the children who then go and snot all over the perfect, amazing people that are refusing to go back to work. Do I need to tell you who I mean? Teachers. Maybe they think it's the teachers in the pubs getting drunk every night. Could it be that? I can't see any reason for this crap other than they don't want us drinking anymore. Forgive me if I'm against this. I'll be honest, I don't drink in pubs. I haven't done for years. And when I do drink, all it is a bottle or two of ale. Very, very rarely in the house. So I'm not invested. But I do know a lot of people still feel the pubs in this country are part of British identity. And this is clown world stuff, isn't it? What's next? Can't talk to people due to the risk of maybe, possibly, another spike that doesn't exist. This, for one, isn't a second spike, it's the first one still. Does this not feel like fun's being outlawed piece by piece? Hell, sometimes it feels like being a proud Brit is already outlawed, doesn't it? Tories are this idiot's group, he advises them. And this is the standard of scaremongering advice. We used to have a backbone, Jesus. This man makes me ashamed to be English, I'll be honest. But what say you? Let's read this and find out what insanity justifies pub and restaurant closures, especially as certain religious venues are still open. Britain has probably reached the limit of opening up society and will only be able to open schools in September by trading some existing freedoms, the Chief Medical Officer has warned. This guy needs to be sacked, doesn't he? On Friday, Professor Chris Whitty said Britain had gone as far as it safely can to restore normality and may now have to sacrifice existing freedoms, such as the reopening of pubs, to stem the spread of coronavirus. I'll tell you one you could shut down. All of these 4-star hotels that we're putting up illegal immigrants and apparent refugees in across the country. How much would that cut it down a bit? Let's aim at the right things instead of the things that are fun and the ones that are trying to keep afloat. You know, the businesses, the Tories, the Conservatives are supposed to want to conserve. Yeah, this lot. We have probably reached near the limits, or the limits of what we can do in terms of opening up society, he told a hastily convened Downing Street press conference. So what that means potentially is if we wish to do more things in the future, we may have to do less of some other things. And who decides of some other things? This cockwomble. And these will be difficult trade-offs, some of which will be decisions of government and some of which are for all of us. But we have to be realistic about this. The idea that we hide away forever because of the risk of possibly maybe could be future spikes is ridiculous, but that was me putting it in, could you tell? The idea that we can open up everything and keep the virus under control is clearly wrong. Opening up schools is an absolute priority. Well, get the teachers back to work then. Everyone else has had to go back. Professor Whitty stressed, echoing the words of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. Did he echo the words of the Prime Minister, or did the Prime Minister echo the words of him? Chicken and egg, that one, innit? But achieving this in September could mean recently returned freedoms such as the opening of pubs and restaurants and mixing between households are again under threat. Brilliant. We're at the outer edge of what we can do, and therefore choices will need to be made. Can I just ask anyone, does anyone remember any stories? Because if you remember rightly, the essential workers, all of their children were still at school all the way through the lockdown, weren't they? Does anyone remember any stories? Not any, just any. If you do, put a link in the comments where a child has given a teacher the lurgy. I'm assuming I won't find any comments to say that there is. This is a situation where if we go beyond a certain point in terms of people getting together, linking up households, the rates of this virus will start to increase. And if we lock down, it'll just mean that it'll increase later on when we unlock down again. Is this just going to be a vicious circle? Because it feels like it is, isn't it? We have probably reached the limits of that. And if people continue to increase the number of people they meet, increasing the social interactions they have, then the virus rates will go up absolutely inevitably. So this is really within our hands as society as to how we have to respond to this. Have you noticed how they're only counting people that have actually got the virus rather than deaths now? I wonder why that is. We've got to stop now. We may have to pull back a bit. In fact, to keep this under control, if we do pull back, then we should be able to hold the line. It's all bullet points, isn't it? Media bullet points. One government source said the concerns about transmission indoors, so when there is talk about trade-offs, there is the option to reverse some of the recent measures, to close pubs so you can open schools. I've never heard something so ridiculous in my life. Clearly pubs and restaurants only opened a few weeks ago, so it's an area that we will keep an eye on, but at the moment the concern is transmission within households. Government sources said the lockdown in the north of England had been driven by failure to adhere to social distancing within the home and within loosely defined households across large extended families. On Friday night, one senior health official said Professor Whitty did not feel it was his job to determine which sacrifices lay ahead. That would be for ministers, and yet he's trying to make out what sacrifices we should make. Sort of proved the point, didn't it? But in making such a detailed public statement, the chief medical officer has proved himself to be an absolute moron, has turned all eyes to Mr Johnson as he considers Britain's precarious position. A source close to Professor Whitty said Chris feels you can't have any further easements of lockdown now without pulling back on something else. Clearly schools are priority, but as far as he's concerned, it's not for him to decide what measures you reintroduce to allow that to happen. That one is down to ministers. Now, what's my opinion on this? Well, I'm not happy, as you can probably tell. All our hard fought for freedoms are being eroded, aren't they? I guarantee the red wall voters in the north are to a man and woman as fuming as me. Boris, you absolute melt, if you're listening, we did not give you our vote that we used to give Labour so you can be Labour fucking plus. Get a grip. Double standards are destroying this country. One rule for all or we don't obey any. Am I wrong? But anyway, I'd like to know your opinion on this. Sorry if I got a little bit annoyed. Let me know in your comments if you know of any other stories that you can think of where a child has given a teacher any sort of illness whatsoever other than snot on the skirt possibly, because I can't think of any. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it out everyone, you'll be really doing me a favour with that one. Stay safe and I'll see you on the next one.